I was running back from a stop, I believe, and I had to run around my van to get into the door on the right side, and it was parked on the left side of the street. And I didn't see anyone coming, but I didn't look, I guess. And when I came around the van, I should have peeked, which is what I do now, but I didn't. I just whipped around the van, and there was a pickup truck, a small pickup truck driving by at, suburban neighborhood speeds like 30 miles per hour. Not that fast, not crazy slow either. It would have hurt me, but I fucking slam on my human brakes and I'm fucking whoa, skidding to a stop. And I stop before he's driving past me as I'm coming into contact with him. So like I'm stopping, and by the time I'm stopped, he's almost all the way by me, drove past me. But he still slams on his brakes. Like he didn't have to slam on his brakes to stop from hitting me. Like I stopped before I was gonna be hit. But he slams on his brakes afterwards and he yells out the window like, you need to be more careful or some shit like that, like with a really like agitated tone. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like legit, like not in an angry way. I was like, I'm sorry. And he said something else, like he said two things. I can't remember what he said exactly, but and I was like, I'm sorry. Again, I was like flabbergasted that he was so angry at me because I was like, I didn't inconvenience you. You could have kept driving. Like I was the one in danger. You didn't have to slam on your brakes to stop from hitting me. What's the problem? Just keep driving. It was my bad. Like I was like, whoa, uh, I showed the shocked face, like I was like, my bad. I was clearly showing, anyway. So I was upset with this guy in my head for a while. Um, for the rest of the day for sure. And then for a little bit afterwards, he would come up in my head every once in a while and be like, oh, that fucker. You're just an asshole. You're just a douchebag that just wants to hate on someone. Like uh, you're just getting off on yelling at me, like you just want to be an asshole. Anyway, that brings us to today. Um, I'm pulling into a long driveway of someone's house. It's like a kind of a country road a little bit, and they have a decently long driveway that's like not that long, but like 50 feet maybe. And I'm driving up it, and their neighbor's dog, this is a common occurrence, comes running up alongside the van and is barking at me like, "Ah, la, 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 la." And I'm like, oh my God, okay, leave me alone. And I get past like where his house's fence is, and he turns around and goes back in his yard. I'm like, okay, fuck. I make my delivery, turn the van around, and like I talked a little bit with the guy that I made the delivery to. So it was like maybe a couple minutes, not long, but I had forgotten about the dog at that point. It just slipped my mind. And I'm turning around, going back down the long driveway. And as soon as I come past that fence where his neighbor's house is at, where the dog was at, the dog comes running out from the fence because he hears me driving up, getting ready to bark at me, but he doesn't know I'm so close. And he does the exact same thing that I did. He comes skidding to a halt to not get run over and barely doesn't get run over by my front tire. I don't have to brake or anything. He manages to stop before getting hit. I'm sure you can understand where I'm taking this at this point. You can understand where this is going. Um he is a dog and I'm yelling out the window to the dog. And this might have something to do with just the fact that that was a negative experience in my brain and I just like projected it. But I was yelling at the dog, dude, chill the fuck out. Like he was annoying me because he was doing something that I viewed as pointless and like stupid and almost got hurt doing it. And I wasn't yelling at him in like a dude, like fucking idiot, like you dumbass. It was a dude, bro, like you got to chill out. What are you doing? Like, I don't want to hurt you. You're going to get hurt. Um, that was where my heart was in talking to the dog. I was like, bro, chill. Like you're being crazy and like I get you're having fun or whatever, you're doing your thing, but you almost just got hurt by being all fake angry and shit. Like chill the fuck out. You're being too much right now. And that gave me the mirror that I needed to see that dude. And I was like, okay, I don't know if that's what he was thinking, but I can attribute that to him. Maybe he was upset because he saw what I was doing, like running around, being like extra fast. That's ridiculous. Just take your time, be safe, obviously, and look around corners. Like the running is ridiculous to him. And I almost got hurt. He probably was watching me run before driving down the road. And then I almost got hurt by running into him and it stressed him out and it made him angry for just half a second. And but it was compassion and like, dude, chill out, man. Relax. You're gonna get hurt, kind of thing. He didn't say that because he was angry, but I can attribute that to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, that guy's, I forgive him. I should not be holding resentment to that guy because I put a judgment on him that I don't know is true. I just got the reverse experience and experienced the exact same thing that he did. And God had been on my mind already uh today, and that happened, and I was like, oh, it just felt, it felt good. Like I was like, that felt like a lesson learned, whether or not God, all the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a very floppy person in my brain with that. Like I have a hard time accepting it. But I'm getting there. And today was a big moment for me because, right after that happened, I was thinking, I was reflecting on that, and I was like, wow, I'm so grateful for that lesson. And, like I said, I was already in the God headspace. So I was like Loki just communing with God a little bit right there. And I was like, I was pulling up to my next stop. And as I was getting out, I was just thinking about stuff. And I was like, I thought these words to God, like speaking to God. I was thinking, he keeps showing me these signs and I'm interpreting them as signs and they're giving me lessons that are actually helpful to me. So whether they're signs or not, like they're working. So I was like, just keep giving me these signs, God, and I'll keep looking for them, bro. Bro. Uh, keep giving me these signs and I will keep looking for them, is what I said in my head. And my next stop where I was walking up to is like this old dilapidated fucking trailer, the fucked up trailer, with like a wooden door, like like a plywood door that's all like weathered and fucked up and like on hinges, like barely even functional. And on these houses, almost like it's like a almost certainty that when you put the package down, no one's gonna come out and like greet you and like grab it. Like, and if they do come out and grab it, they're definitely not like looking at you or talking to you. That's like a 99.9% time on this kind of house, right? So that's where my attitude was. And it's not like I was thinking about that. It was just like that's what was clearly expected because it was like one of those houses, like big time. Anyway, I put the package down. I turn around, I'm going back to my van, and I hear from behind me, thank you. And I'm like, oh, I got a little surprised and I was like, yep. I didn't even look back. I was like, yep. Uh, kept walking to my van. And then I hear, God bless. Like, and it just, he said it in a way too that he was like trying to get me to hear it almost. Like, it felt like he really wanted me to hear it. It was like there was a pause. There was an unnatural conversational pause. And then he said, God bless. And I said, have a good day. I should have turned around and said thank you, but I said, have a good day. Um, and then I was like, whoa, God bless. God bless. And then I got this feeling in my stomach of relief just sinking into that. And I was like, wow, like I just asked for a sign. And that was a potent one. It hit me hard. Um, like people don't say God bless, or like they do, right? People say God bless, but in that specific situation, dude, it was insane for me to hear that. Like insane. And then I'm going back in my van and I see the dude on the porch and he's the fucking, what's the opposite of an antithesis? He's the thesis of of like the guy that lives in that trailer. He's like this old, out of shape, slightly like beat up white dude in a wife beater, beer gut, smoking a cigarette, like scraggly beard and shit. And I make eye contact with him as I'm walking in my van, and he's like still like halfway in the door about to go in. And we both like at the same time just give a little, and it just felt like, bro, that felt like that was God just talking through both of us. We both had a moment. Like, I don't know what he was feeling, I sound kind of crazy right now, but I'm saying if you look for these fucking signs, bro, they're there. And sometimes you can learn shit from them. And you don't even have to like it. Like, I don't know that that's God talking to me, but I feel it. It feels real. And that's all that matters because we don't know shit. We don't know anything. You can't possibly know about God if God's true or not. You can't know. So it's about how you feel, bro. Like, even if you are delusional in the end, like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, the people that, like, in my head, right, in my old logic brain, old atheist brain, I'm like, these people that are deluding themselves into believing they're like God exists, when they die, they're gonna find out. But no, they're not. When they die, bro, these people that 100% believe in God say that there's no God, right? Like there's no afterlife, and these people die. They never even learn that they were wrong. They got to believe their whole life that God exists and they're going to an afterlife and heaven exists and all that shit. And no stress about death or anything. And then that's a tangible like result from that. Someone drove by, I got distracted. But yeah, they literally got a happier life by being delusional, right? And it's not even delusional because no one knows which way. It's an equal possibility, God, no God, right? In my mind. I'm starting to believe that God exists. Like I at this point do believe that it's likely that God exists, and I feel like in my heart that He does. But I'm saying, like, in a logical standpoint, even if you like you're looking from the scientific point of view, you still can't say like, oh no, God doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that is ignorant. So you might as well, if you can, believe in God. Like try. You might as well try because if you can really like you start looking for the signs, right? And you start believing that maybe that it's true, maybe it could be true, and then you start looking for the signs and you start getting signs, and then maybe if the first few signs aren't like revolutionary for you or whatever, they're just like, oh, that was weird, huh? Weird coincidence. And then eventually you start looking at the signs and you're like, there's lessons in all these signs. Like if I look hard enough, there's lessons in every sign. Like all these synchronicities, there's a lesson in each one of them if I look hard enough. And then you're like, okay, well, I could maybe it's just like I'm looking if I look hard enough at anything, I'll find a lesson. Doesn't really matter, right? If you're learning something from the result of like a synchronicity that could be just completely random nonsense, you learned something from it and you got better. So it doesn't really matter. So take that philosophy and be like, let me start looking for signs and let me just see. Like, okay, God, I want you to show me the path and let me see. And, but then you have to put the effort in and start interpreting things, like start looking for signs. But anyway, I'm not a fucking spiritual guru or anything. I'm not trying to fucking preach. But another thing I wanted to say though, and it's on this topic. Every time I see ants on like a carcass of a bug or something, or like a lizard or something, um I usually stop and check it out just because I just find that interesting. Call me weird, I don't know. It's good to find like interest in the small things, right? So I was practicing that yesterday. And I find genuine interest in it. I stopped and saw there were some ants on a grasshopper carcass. And there was probably like 300 ants on this carcass and around it. And I was like, damn, where are your it was in a driveway of a delivery I was making. And I was like, where's the anthill? I couldn't see the hill. And I could barely follow the trail. And I started finding the where they were taking stuff back. And it was like a good like 7 or 8 feet away. And I was like, damn. I started thinking like in the ants mind frame, right? They're not thinking, but if they were thinking, in their time scale, this is like a huge like construction project they're doing to bring in a crazy amount of food. They just found like a jackpot amount of food, and they're like, okay, well, we gotta start making a system to get all this food back, and it's gonna take months or maybe years to get all the food back. But this is gonna be a good, steady flow for us, you know. Like in their time scale, this is a huge, gigantic skyscraper of a project, right? And I started thinking like, oh man, that's so interesting to think of it that way. And then when I was thinking of it that way, I was like, in that point of view, I have the power of a god to speed up these guys' process by a billion times if I just pick the grasshopper up and put it on top of the anthill, right? Like, if I think of it that way, I'm a god. Let me just do that. Let me be a god for half a second. So, there's ants all over the fucking grasshopper. I'm like, okay, let me be quick, grab it by the wing, start pulling it over, and then I get scared and drop it halfway, and I go find it again, grab it, and make it over to the anthill, and I put it on top of the anthill. And then I was thinking, wow, those ants do not understand and can't comprehend what just happened, but there's got to be some sense to them and to the hive mind of them that, whoa, our construction project just got way easier. Somehow, the grasshopper, all the food just got delivered right on top of our house. That never happens. That has never happened in the history of ant kind. Like for them, right? As far as they know, they're just all ants. Um, that is a miracle that just happened in their mind, right? And I just did that for no reason other than seeing them work hard. And I was like, let me just help you guys out because I see you guys fucking doing this crazy shit and you guys are clearly working hard to accomplish this goal. Let me just help you out real quick. And then I thought, like, whoa, like, think of it, put yourself in the ants, right? We're the ants. And there could be things that we cannot comprehend. There are almost certainly things that we can't comprehend, right? And some of those things could be gods that just witness our lives and see us working and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're working hard. Let me give you something." You know what I mean? Let me just I'm gonna sprinkle this little thing on you, you know? Just because I see you working hard and I like it. Like they don't have any other reason other than that. Like and it might be just God, but I'm saying like we don't know what's going on. Like and it's so great to think of it that way. Like just get out there and work hard. And who knows, maybe a fucking being will see you working hard and will sprinkle a little niceness on you. You know what I'm saying? And also, I'm not sure if this is like a thing for everyone, but I've definitely heard this before, and it rings true for me that when you're fucking up and you know you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, and you know that, and like you could be doing more, and you're doing way less, you're doing almost nothing, you start getting punished for that in different ways. Um, like I could go into the details, but that's a different video. I was punished for years for that. And I just thought life just sucked. And that was the reason that I was getting punished, you know, because it was like, oh, it's another shitty thing that life's throwing at me. Like, not surprised. But then when I started getting on my shit and started doing my thing, those things just stopped happening, bro. Like they just stopped. And when they do come up, like they're not big and they're just like fucking they're they're handleable. They're not even in the same mind frame anymore. So it's like it's partially my perspective has changed, but partially I feel like they just stopped. Like they just haven't been happening as much.